Take it away.
All right, recording.
Whoops.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the
United States of America and to the
to the
republic
republic
for which it stands,
for which it
one
nation,
nation,
one
under God,
under
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice
liberty
for all.
and justice for all.
Someday,
Someday.
that's what we work for.
Thank you, Kira, and thank you, everybody. I would like to welcome everybody. It's so good to have you here today. Thank you for joining us on yet another gorgeous Saturday morning. I just wanted to quickly show you this is what we're going to cover today. So we'll be moving right along at a good rapid clip, and I hope you'll find some stuff that interests you as we move along with this. Just a second here, I did something wrong. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so I know I have a script here somewhere.
Excuse me, can I ask, I'm in chat trying to send something to chat. I don't know
Yes.
how to make it go there.
Alan, are you hitting enter after you type in your comment?
What am I supposed to hit?
enter.
Hit enter after you type your comment. And are you typing
Thank
your
you.
comment in the place where it says type message
I'm
here?
typing it there and I just hit enter twice and it doesn't go there.
Okay, but on the to part, does it say to everyone? Do you see that?
Yep.
Okay. And you're seeing your message and you're hitting enter, eh?
Yeah.
Huh.
One of my messages went there. It says, is there a
Oh
way?
yeah, is there a way we can
observe?
observe? Okay.
And somehow I accidentally sent that up in there before I finished writing it.
Oh,
So
You
then I
probably hit
started
enter
trying to finish
to
my
go to
message.
another line. Yes, I do that all the time.
Well, this was working for me last time and I just don't understand how computers work, I guess.
Okay, well, we're gonna
I don't
move
either.
along here and
Thank
get
Move along.
going. Thank you. So listen, as I said, we're getting very, very busy. There are happenings in Benzie and Lansing and across the country that are reminding us that we are facing a very dangerous, dishonest, and determined foe. We absolutely cannot be caught asleep at the switch for the next midterm. That happened back in 2010, halfway through Obama's first term, and we're still paying for it. So that can't happen again. It really is becoming all hands on deck. And so I invite all of you to join us in joyful positivity and help us with our work in any way that you can. Just very briefly, some of the things we're working on are candidate recruitment. We're building support for Gretchen, Dana, and Jocelyn. We're pushing the redistricting committee for partisan fairness. We're working on local reapportionment. Those are two different things. And lots of other projects, as you're about to hear. But folks, this is why we have this party. We're here to help spread the word on what's really going on and how to engage personally and with others. It's very easy to forget, but you and I pay way more attention to this than most of our friends do, just way more. So it's up to the party to keep you informed on what's going on so that you can then talk to your friends about it in casual conversation and also remain really motivated to help us with our projects. So with that, and before we go to our membership report, I want to say hello to Deanne Lau, who has to leave early for a sudden change in her family schedule.
Ian.
And she's managing and editing our township and county lookout project. So Deanne, if you could quickly describe what you and the lookouts are doing and how people can help.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, so we have been doing a lot of good work, and we have 12 townships in Benzie County and the city of Frankfort, so 13. And right now, we have people for 8 of the townships. So they're what we have is people that attend the township meetings. They're called lookouts. And then they attend the meeting, write up a little report, and send it to me, and then I help edit it and send it out to the people that are in that specific township. So we still are looking for people to attend township meetings in Blaine, Colfax, Weldon, and the city of Frankfurt. The township meetings are just once a month, and you don't have to be a perfect writer. You know, I definitely can help because I'll edit the information before I send it out. And I think it's great to be a lookout. Just being the person that's edited these, I've learned so much about local government. And I also think you can help influence local government, because when officials know that people are paying attention, they oftentimes behave differently. So if you're interested, you can contact either Mary Roebling or myself, and I can put our emails in the chat. So I just am so impressed with how much effort people have made to attend these township meetings and see what's really going on the local level. So I think it's great.
Well, thank you, Deanne.
Yeah.
We're very, very impressed with what you are doing, and with what the folks are doing. We're getting great readership. When these go out, they're getting really high open rates, higher
Yeah.
than our regular party communication. So there's some very, very strong interest in this, and we hope someone else could help out with some of the other townships. It's once a month, okay?
Yeah,
So,
just once a month. So if you can help, and even though we have people in those other townships, it doesn't hurt to, you know, because then there's more people attending meetings. So
yeah, and some backup too.
yeah, and
Oh,
some
great.
backup as well.
You have to live in the township? I'm sorry,
No.
quick question.
No,
Don't have
You
to
do
live
not
in the
have to live in-
township to attend the meeting.
you don't have to live in the township at all. That's a great question, Tom.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. So Deanne, please put your email up in the chat. Would you do that? And
sure will.
Mary Roebling, would you do the same thing with yours so that people can get a hold of you for the township lookout stuff? Okay, so scoot there, Deanne. Thanks for
Okay.
squeezing it in, and
All righty.
we'll see you for the whole meeting next time, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, great.
Bye.
Cool. Moving right along here, Kira Duvernoy, our wonderful vice chair and membership chair, has a membership report. Kira?
All right, quick membership report. We have one new member as of this last month. We have 377 members, and so that's all great, but anybody who's here who isn't a member or who knows people who might be interested, power is in our numbers. And we're fun and dedicated, and we really want to keep our democracy, and that's what it comes down to. So in order to keep this democracy of ours, we have to work at it. It doesn't come easy. So more members, more better. Anybody who wants to be a member, please get a hold of me, and I'll put my information in the chat, or go to benziedemocrats.com, and you can, you'll see where you can become a member there. Click on the button and there you go. So if anybody knows people who might be interested, reach out to them. That would be great. Thank you.
Thanks, Kira, and thanks for the great job you're doing, really. Again, I'll urge you, visit benziedemocrats.com. Even if you're a member, go look at the site. There's a lot of good stuff there. And if you want to join us, that's a great way to do it. Go right there and they'll take care of you. We're all set to do business. We really are. Okay, next up, just a sobering pause here for just a minute. Susan Koenig has asked to say something about Derek Bailey.
Good morning, everybody. Derek Bailey is known to some of you. Probably a lot of the newer members don't know who he was, but he was a person whom we thought as Democrats would be a fabulous candidate for us at the state level and at the congressional level. And then bad things happened, and he was accused and convicted of a crime, and he was sent to prison. So he was recently found unresponsive in his cell. And what I wanted to tell you is, if it interests any of you, that he will be buried today at Champion Hill Cemetery at 1 o'clock. And then at 2, there'll be a service. It supposedly will involve Native American, some drumming and Native American customs at his burial. He was 48 years old and the autopsy reports have not come back yet. So it's unknown why a physically fit 48-year-old person would pass away like that. So if Champion Hill, if you know where it is, it's just Marshall Road, which is directly across from Indian Hill Road. And if you're interested, I went yesterday because there was a mix up at the funeral home in Traverse at the last minute changed. So a bunch of us were there and they changed the ceremony until today. I don't know what that means, but anyhow, it's 1 o'clock and it's easy to ride up the hill. You see the cemetery on your left, you pull in, you park, and you'll see some people clustered. He'll be in a family plot, a Bailey family plot. Do you have any questions about that? Anybody want to know anything more? Not that I know a lot. So
Well,
that's the bad news. And
thanks for bringing that to our attention, Susan.
okay, okie doke.
Really appreciate that. Somebody's got a radio on or something. Please turn it off.
I do. It's far away, but I'll go turn
We
it
can
off.
hear it. Yeah.
It's my Saturday morning blues. This is a sacrifice to shut that down.
Oh, was that on WDET in Detroit? Their blues show on the Saturday morning is great. It really is. Okay, moving right along here. Barry Hahn was supposed to be here this morning, but his computer blew up and then he got stuck at some big box store in Traverse City, even though he was there at the crack of dawn. So he can't be here with us today to say this, so I'm going to say it for him. This Thursday at 5 o'clock, we're going to have a Benzie Brewski at Five Shores Brewery in just like downtown Beulah, okay, at 5 o'clock. And Barry wanted me to pass along to you that they've got a great selection of IPAs, but they also have some other fine beers. The selection rotates, so it's interesting if you're someone who pays attention to brewskis and all that. They have a fine menu that's very unusual for a bar. It's quite cool. And he also pointed out that the two guys that own the bar are from the Ann Arbor area. They're likely very progressive people, and I think they really want to help the community. So let's try to make friends with them. Let's go over there and make friends with each other this Thursday at 5 o'clock, and support Five Shores, and we'll let them know that we're there and that we're around. Okay. So that's this Thursday. One more time, this Thursday, starting at 5 o'clock. Over there, it's outdoors. I lied, originally said it was under a tent. That tent's been gone for a while. They've got these big wooden tables that are kind of fun to sit at, and they've got umbrellas for them if it's extra sunny. And if it's rainy, it probably won't happen. So we'll see what happens, but you'll be comfortable. The tables are socially distanced, and it's a very safe place to go outside. So
They
we
have
hope.
wine too. They
Huh?
have wine. They have wine too.
Oh, thank you for that. Thank you, Susan.
FYI, yeah.
All right. Well, that's important for many people. Thank
Oh,
you.
it is.
Great. Okay. Next up, Mary, would you talk a little bit about the Three Witches fundraiser that is coming up? You have to unmute. Got to unmute.
Yeah, so, okay, everybody, on the happy note, save the date, October 29th, for our fundraiser for our Brilliant Three Witches. We're going to have ghost stories. We're going to have monster mash. We're going to have all sorts of wonderful things. It's going to be on Zoom. We just decided that it was safer all the way around not to do it at the Mills. And the Mills loves us and they're giving us our money back because, quote, we don't want to lose one Democrat in Benzie County. So, so anyhow, so save that date. There will be more news forthcoming. We are in the process of working out all sorts of neat little things to build joy and to make this an environment where you feel like you can give as much as you can. These women will be challenged from all through the Republican Party. They are, as you know, they are not liked by the National Party, and they want them to be defeated. So money is a part, and whatever you can give, we will be happy to take. So thanks so much.
Thank you, Mary. We're going to have a good time with this, and we're going to make some good money doing it for our wonderful
Mary,
team.
when you say that they're not liked by the National Party, are you talking the Republican Party or the Democrat
Oh, no,
Party?
the Republican Party. The Democrats love them. These women really
Okay.
represent what the Democratic Party has been building to for a number of years. They are our emblem in a number of ways. Dana Nessel is an AG that I think is held up not only on national news, but among other Democratic AGs as being, this is the kind of person we want, a street fighter.
Yes, that's
And-
true. It's true.
and-
I just wanted to make sure that we clarified that.
No, I mean, every right-wing group has been threatening their life for months.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you, Mary.
Will you be sending out invitations to the?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, oh, don't
Oh,
worry.
yes.
You
So that we
will be
can sign
getting,
up and get the Zoom link?
You will be
you
hearing
will be
all
getting
about
all
it.
of it.
You'll be hearing all about it. We promise. We
You'll
want
be
you to.
begging us to be silent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will be attending by Zoom because we'll be
So will everybody else.
traveling.
Yeah. So will everybody else. It'll be a Zoom only event, and
Oh,
we're just asking you right now to save the date, the 29th. We'll have all kinds of
oh,
other stuff for you.
Zoom only, okay.
Zoom only.
Zoom only.
Zoom
And I can
only.
go too.
Yes.
Here's my calendar. I'm writing it down right now.
All right.
Good job.
All right, everybody, please do that. Moving right along, our great enthusiasm for Gretchen. We are circulating petitions to get her on the ballot. And yes, you got to do that. That's something she has to do, even though she's the
Oh.
incumbent. So we do have some petitions out to some folks. If you would like to circulate a petition among your close friends, maybe just get you and your neighbors across the street who you know are Democrats to sign it and send it in partially filled out. That's totally cool. All you need to do is go over to the chat. Way up at the top is my email address. Email me, and I will email me your name and address, and I will mail you a petition form that you can then get filled out and mail in to the address that's at the bottom of the tear off tab when you get it, okay? So please do that. We need to get her petitions all signed up so she doesn't have to think about that anymore. So that's a big help, okay? So please help us with petitions. I'll mail you one. It's real easy to do. There's instructions, and help us move Gretchen forward. The other thing, I'd hope to have Rick Rhodes talk about our letter to the editor project, which is going great guns, but needs some help. If you're not aware of it, what happens is that every Monday, the Michigan Democratic Party sends out a set of talking points for the week. We look those over as a group with 101st District chairs from Leelanau and Mason and Manistee and us. We look it all over. We figure what's a good message for our folks to focus on. We create our own email out of that. Rick sends it to our letter writers, and there are letter writers in Mason and Manistee and Leelanau counties as well. And we ask them to write a letter along these talking points, send it to their local paper, and also, if they can, to the Record Eagle in Traverse City, and also the Traverse City Northern Express. And it's working well. If you look at our letter page in the Record Patriot, we dominate it most weeks, and a big part of that is because of what this is. Now, if you're somebody who's got their own thing that they really want to write a letter about, that's great. We never, ever want to slow you down. But if you want to help with this project by helping us coordinate a statewide message that goes out every week, please help us out. And Rick Rhodes' email is up at the top of the chat. Click on that and send him an email and let him know you're interested, and we'll get you going on it. Okay? We need some more people. We've got enough, but it means everybody's writing a letter once a month, and we're starting to see the same old names on the page, which isn't a good thing. We need some fresh names along with the ones we already have. It's easy to do. We'll help you edit it. We'll help you with talking points. If you think you're a lousy writer, you're not. You just need a little help, and we're here to do that. So please think about helping us with our letter to the editor project. It'll be one letter every month at most, and we'll help you do it. So I don't know what else to offer you. I hope you can think seriously about helping us do that. Okay, next up, Greta Bolger, who has been part of the LTE project from a different point of view. She's been doing some really nice memes for us, wants to talk a little bit about that project. Greta, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, and good morning, everyone.
Greta.
Regarding the letters to the editor, I just want to point out to you that on the Benzie Dems website under Get Involved, there's some very clear direction on how to write a letter to the editor, as well as direct links to both, to all of the papers that we send letters to. And so that makes it easier for you. And as Jim said, this project has been, it's been really successful. It's fun to do, but you know, because we repeat these same names quite often, the papers won't publish us that often. So that's why we really need to get some more people on this team, because, you know, if you're in the Record Patriot in September, they won't publish you again in September. So you have to keep that in mind. In terms of the memes, I started working with Jim and some others on the website a while back. And so the website has been, you know, greatly upgraded, and we keep that up to date. These monthly messages that we get that come from the state party and then are filtered through our own local closer in parties, the Four on the Shore, are super helpful in keeping you informed, allowing us to write letters to the editor, and also allowing me to make these memes. And the memes are short messaging, as you can see, that's you know, designed to get attention and keep people aware of some of the key issues that we need to address as a party. This is one on these deceptive petitions that are soon to become circulated by the Republicans. And, you know, you've seen these people at these petition drives. They just hawk over the passersby, and they'll say anything to them to get them to sign. And so that's why we really want to make them aware of this. I come from a background in marketing and advertising, so I've really enjoyed getting to know this technology and to craft these messages. And Steve Thompson and Aubrey post them both on our regular Facebook as well as on our discussion group Facebook. So you as members have the ability to go in and share these memes with people that are, you know, on our team or who are not on our team. And they're designed to just deliver short, high impact messages. Sometimes Jim makes me trim down the copy, but, you know, that's okay. We work well together. And so this is just another tool that's available for you to get out some key messages. Again, the information we get from the state party and our local parties is incredibly useful, up to date, very clear, very strong. Rick Rhodes does a great job sometimes of, you know, making the messages more specific and more directed. So we have a lot of great tools to work with, and just want you to be able to incorporate those tools into your efforts as well.
Greta, thank you very, very much. I just want to tell everybody what a wonderful job you're doing with the memes and with the website. You've really helped up step up our cyber footprint, if you want to call it that. And if you are a Facebooker, please go to our Facebook page. That's where these things show up, and grab them and send them out to your own groups. Do a like, do a share, do a comment. Aubrey talks to us about this stuff all the time. This is how we spread our influence out through social media. So please, please help us do that and amplify Greta's excellent work. It's really pretty darn cool, and I'm really glad to see this going on. Okay, next up, Jane is going to talk a little bit about what we just saw there, the decline to sign meme. Jane, tell us what's going on with that.
Hi, everybody. Most of you know that Michigan has this little kink in our constitution that other states don't have, which allows the legislature to go around the governor. So Governor Gretchen Whitmer has said that she will veto anything that makes it harder to vote. And we all know these Republicans, including Kurt Vanderwall, who is on the elections committee and has sponsored or co-sponsored all these election bills that are taking away our freedom to vote. They're going to be putting up a petition. I think 5.5 million people voted in Michigan in the last vote. I forget how many voted in Gretchen's vote, but all they need is 340,000 signatures, which is a very small minority of the voting population, not at all representative of what the people want. And they just need 340,000 signatures to get this petition. And the petition is basically going to make it, make all this voter suppression stuff veto proof, meaning we're screwed. So no other state, like, this is considered worse than Texas in some ways, because nobody else has this twist in their constitution to allow them to go around the governor's veto. Anyway, don't sign it. Whatever you, anytime you see a petition, read it, because like I think it was Greta just said, you know, they say anything. And if you see someone saying ridiculous things or what is not true about the petition and they're getting signatures, videotape them, because you can send it to the Secretary of State and they can get in big trouble for that if they're lying about what their petition says. So anyway, don't sign anything. There's also, I believe, going to be another petition going around to take over control of the health department, which is, I don't know about you, but I don't want a mole man or a, you know, DJ telling me or taking away the health department's power. So anyway, we'll have more information on actions we all can take, and we all are going to really need to take action. We'll have some more information probably in early October that we'll share with everybody.
Jane, thank you very much. And Jane, I also want to thank you for all the research you do. You were a big part of getting the Watchers going, and now you're helping the letters to the editor thing by doing backup research when we need it, and covering the meetings when I can't make it. And you're such a big help. Thank you, Jane, very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Okay, next up here, we already sort of talked about this right at the very beginning of the meeting. Just to recap, I know Chris is joining us by phone again, but up in the chat, you'll see a place where you can join and make comments on the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission, which is redistricting our House and our Senate and our congressional seats, okay? And what we'd like you to do is go there, go to the comment portal and make a comment and urge the commission to please observe partisan fairness and make these districts as competitive as they can, because that's the point of voting. And not to gerrymander them, but to avoid stuffing districts with so many Democrats that it's like 90 or 80%, whereas if they were spread out among two districts, they'd be, 40% of each district or 45% of each district and competitive. So if you want some guidance on that, feel free to talk to me or talk to Chris or talk to some other folks in the party that are paying close attention to this. But please go to the link she's put there and go to the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission website and make a comment about partisan fairness. It's really, really important that we do this right now, okay? So in the next few days. Last time we asked for this by email, we got some really good response, but we need more. And even if you responded last time, it's okay to comment twice. So just go ahead, okay? Okay, I have a plea now. This meeting is being recorded, as are all of our meetings, and we'll be recording our presentation with Dr. Bob, who will be on in just a minute or two here. We need to put those over into YouTube so that people that missed the meeting or want to watch the presentation again can do that. It's not that hard to do. It does take a little time. It does take a couple hours. Right now we have our MDP tech support person, Jamie Brantz, doing that transfer for us. We would like to relieve her of that. She's already got enough to do. So we would love to train one of you up to do that. It's not hard to do. All you need is a decent internet connection and a computer that's not ancient, and you'll be fine. So if you're interested in that, my email address is up at the top there. Please go click on it and let me know, and we'll set you up. This would be a huge help. We still are, we're a month from our last meeting. We still don't have it up on YouTube because Jamie's been really busy, and I don't feel like really pushing her hard on it because she does a lot of work, So somebody please help us with that, okay? Great. Okay, we're getting very, very close now to Dr. Bob. I wanted to do two things now that are very much about this coming campaign. One of them is to let you know that we are trying to get in touch with the group that put this billboard up and putting them up all over northern Michigan. And we have the executive committee has budgeted $1,000 to get our own one for a month here in Benzie County. So we're hoping to get this up in Benzie County soon. We've reached out to them a couple times. The group is called We the People. We've not heard back from them yet, and I don't know if someone in this group has connections with them. If you do, please get a hold of me because we want to talk to them about this and get one of these in our county, and we're happy to pay for it. So,
hey Jim, this is Jana. I just we saw one on 31 yesterday near Menards. So
yeah,
that was encouraging.
Yeah, no, there's 7 or 8 of them already up. There's a bunch more coming up. I saw the list. Benzie County is not on it. We need to be on the list. So we're going to work on that. And if someone, as I said, if somebody has a way into the We the People organization, which seems to be based in Detroit, we'd love to hear from you. Okay? All right.
Yeah.
Now, yes.
K-Boy Mead is on.
Huh? Pardon me?
K-Boy Mead finally made it in.
Oh, okay.
To talk about the pro-choice October 2nd event.
Fine, thank you. Let's do that right now, and then we'll finish with Gerard talking about defund Bergman, and then we'll hear from Dr. Bob. So, Kay Boyne, please. Kay, you probably need to unmute if you're there.
I just hit it. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Fine. Okay, I'll try to be quick. A rally will be held here in Benzie County to protect a woman's right to choose the size of her family based on her own physical and financial situation and her goals in life. Marches will be going on all over the country on Saturday, October 2nd. Traverse City is having theirs at 1 o'clock. Ours will be at 11 o'clock at the Government Center, where you park and go over to US 31. Colin Mary usually covers us. For the record, Patriot. I need a contact with the Benzie Current. Cindy Shapiro and I will be doing some posters next Wednesday morning, the 22nd, at my house here in Honor, or at headquarters if we could work that out. We would welcome help. I have dozens of brief slogans, but yours are welcome. We need bodies at this rally. People in walkers, little girls pleading for their future, men who care. Everything helps. Millions of us have worked for 50 years, I have, for women's rights. We will not go back. As long as half of us are not free, all society suffers. Thank you. Please help.
Thanks, Kay. Would you like to put your contact information up in the chat? Are you able to do that?
Well, if someone can tell me what that means.
Okay, never mind. We'll deal with it in a different way. We'll
Thank
approach
you.
people via email about it. And I think having a session for sign making at headquarters is a fine idea. So we'll work that out.
Great.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Okay, great. Cool. Thank you. All right. And now Gerard Grabowski has been waiting patiently here, and we'd like to welcome Gerard, who's got some update on the Defund Bergman project, which many of us have heard about before. Go ahead, Gerard. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Tim. I really appreciate this opportunity to talk. And I'm really grateful that I am with the Defund Bergman people. When I look at all these Benzie Democrats, you are Defund Bergman, and you have been Defund Bergman, and it is the most decentralized, organized campaign that the 1st Congressional District has really ever experienced in my lifetime, because everyone across the 1st Congressional District has participated in the last 8 months in this Defund Bergman program. And I have nothing but good news to report today. And I'll be really brief, and I think this is a great intro to Dr. Bob. Defund Bergman is working again because of you. The quarterly reports came out in August. The groups that we all focused on, the credit union, the American bankers, the DTE, all of them ceased their funding of Jack Bergman.
Really?
And that was a direct result of us doing our work, and we're going to keep an eye on them. I wanted to say a real quick side note. I have really weak internet, so if I get kicked off, then wait a second, I might get kicked back on. Anyhow, August, we had a great celebration because of your work and all of our work. Those people stopped. A really interesting thing happened with Toyota Corporation. They mysteriously gave Jack Bergman $5,000 and other seditionists that had voted to throw out our vote. And we were all in an uproar. Actually, it was Kira Duvernay. I think someone needs to mute there. I can still hear someone else. Anyhow, Kira Duvernay pointed this out to me right away, and we got involved, and everyone wrote Toyota, and then the Lincoln Project picked it up, and then Toyota withdrew their funding. It was a huge embarrassment for Jack Bergman to get funded, and then within a 6-week period to be defunded. So that's exactly the work of Defund Bergman, and I want to again thank Benzie Democrats for being at the spear point of that specific campaign that, you know, it all happened very quickly, and all because we've engaged in Facebook and Twitter, like Jim was saying. Don't give up on the Defund Bergman likes. Don't give up on the posts. And I have an ask later about that. So anyhow, nothing but good news about defunding him. We can't let Jack Bergman get funded anymore. He gives money to people like Matt Gaetz. He gives money to other extremist Republicans. And so we must continue to defund him. The second part I want to talk about is I sent some articles to Jim there. One of the focuses of Defund Bergman is that we have noticed, as many of you have noticed, a split in the Republican Party. We have some Republicans, like Senator Ed McBroom from the UP, who is on the chair of the Senate committee to investigate the election, who said there was no fraud. But we have people like Bergman and Vanderwall and O'Malley who have never said that the elections were fair. So we have a split in the party, and I think Jim's going to drop in the chat some of the articles I sent him, but it was in the Detroit News recently about a meeting in Manistee of the Republicans, how they were swearing at each other, and O'Malley was dropping F-bombs at the person who's going to run against Dana Nessel for Attorney General, this attorney who's promoting the big lie. And so the Republican Party is very tense. We need to wedge them. We need to extract from there the Republicans that believe in science and that believe in our election integrity. And so that is a thing that we need to verse ourselves on, reach out to those Republicans and continue to see them split up, because they have clearly, Jack Bergman has sided with the domestic violent extremists. Jack Bergman went 2 weeks ago to Trucker Randy's convention, which was an Open Up Michigan extremist convention that had Proud Boys there. Jack Bergman has never disavowed the Proud Boys, and they are the ones that are on trial and in jail right now for, invading the Capitol. And so that gets us to the next part about the billboards. We were very involved in encouraging We the People, because they have money. Defund Bergman has $0. It's all a volunteer organization. But we were very grateful when We the People said that they wanted to put 15 billboards throughout the 1st Congressional District. One of the reasons Benzie didn't get one is because Manistee has one and Traverse City has one, and it's a big congressional district that stretches all the way to Wisconsin. So there's 15 of these billboards throughout. And these billboards are really causing, I think what they're doing is a lot of people who don't get involved in this issue are like, all right, someone's speaking up about this. And I've gotten some of that feedback from just general public who said they love those billboards because they're putting Jack on the spot. And so what we're asking is that if anyone sees these billboards, and if you can safely do it, stop, turn around, go to the side of the road, take a picture of it, take a picture of yourself by it with your thumbs up, waving, and we're going to post those on the Facebook. And the Twitter. We have over 1,000 followers. And then we got to get the pictures. We got to get these little, trickles of media to keep putting this issue out there. And so, what are you hiding, Jack? We want the truth about January 6th. And that could be a simple letter to the editor. Just a few sentences. Doesn't need to be a lot of words in it. We have specifically asked Bergman's office for a release of his visitor log prior to the insurrection, and they have not given it. So they are hiding something. He's not hiding his association with the seditionists. He is hiding, perhaps what he might have helped them with. We don't know. It's a valid question. Did he give them people tours ahead of time? So anyhow, I am very grateful for the work you've done, and we are trying to focus on getting this much out of these billboards as we can, because this is a real good opportunity to promote this. They rolled out in August, and it's actually the We the People group that's based in Sault Ste. Marie. And I gave you the contact in the chat there, Jim, about Betsy Kofi is the contact. She's the one who's helped put those up. And she's worked intimately with our Defund Bergman group too. So she would be excited about getting another billboard up, I'm sure. Again, thanks for your work. Take the time to read about the split in the party, because we need to, get some of these Republicans to put up those Republicans for Biden or Republicans for Harris signs again, or Republicans for Whitmer. Why don't we have those signs show up like they did last November? So thank you, and I really look forward to hearing Dr. Bob, and if there's any questions, shoot away.
Just one quick one. We're going to go right to Dr. Bob here. Gerard, can you tell us, if we go to the Defund Bergman site, is it obvious what we're supposed to do?
Yeah, it's getting tooled up that way. The Defund Bergman Facebook page has asked for people to take pictures by the billboard, and the Twitter one has too. So yes, if you go to either Facebook or Twitter, the website's being retooled, and because a lot of people go to that who don't have Facebook or Twitter. So that will soon be a good place to go. But right now it's Facebook and Twitter that have the up-to-date information.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I wasn't
Again,
clear on that.
Thanks for everything that you guys do.
Okay, great. Thanks. All right. So we now come to the main event here today. I've got an introduction if I can find it. Let's see here. Please be patient, Dr. Bob. Thank you. I need a production assistant. Okay, Dr. Bob is from Marquette, and he's been a physician there for many, many years, and most recently became director of the county medical center when he saw the emergency that is occurring with COVID. In between that and his 3 public health degrees when he was in college, he's been a longtime family physician and actually worked in the foreign service in 4 or 5 Middle Eastern countries, actually during all the conflicts that have been going on, to give some public service and help people in other parts of the world. So Dr. Bob has a big heart. He's also smart as a whip. He's running a very, very tough campaign, as I think you'll hear as he speaks about what he's trying to do. And we're just so glad to have him with us, and we're so glad that he's running. So Dr. Bob, could you please introduce yourself and take it away? Dr. Bob Lorinser, folks, let's give him a round of applause.
Well, thank you very much. I hope you can hear me. I'm sitting in my car near Alpena for another Democratic event. So is the reception coming over okay? All righty.
You sound great.
All right. So, thanks, Jim, for the invite and the opportunity to introduce myself. Again, I apologize. I'm in my car on my cell phone hotspot talking to you because I have an Alpena Democratic event shortly. And I just came from Munising, was on the radio show, the radio show. So I'll give a little bit of an introduction, as you don't mind, a little bit about where I stand and why I'm running. So I believe a congressman is somebody who represents the community members on a national level, someone that advocates for all of us on a national platform. And I'm running for as a Democrat for the 1st congressional seat because we currently don't have somebody that believes that this is true. As Jim stated, I started my career as a public servant, but before I started that, I thought it was necessary to be well educated. So I had a master plan as a young adult to obtain advanced degrees in social work, public health, and medicine, and I was blessed to be able to do such. Then I started my professional career as a social worker at the Veterans Hospital, followed by 3 years in the Indian Health Service as a family physician working with the Navajo Indians. Then in 1989, I moved my family to the beautiful state of Michigan, right, and practiced as a family physician in Marquette for over 2 decades. While maintaining Marquette as my home, Peggy and I joined the State Department called Foreign Service Division, out of a sense, again, of a national duty. And I served as a diplomat doing tours in Pakistan during Osama bin Laden times, moved to South Korea covering parts of Russia, Mongolia, and helping out with some other Eastern countries. Moved to Afghanistan, then practiced in Morocco and North Africa, followed by my last 2-year tour in Iraq. After the tour in Iraq, I returned home to retire officially in December of 2020. I lose track of years here, but that didn't happen. And again, out of a local need, state need, I became the medical director of most of the UP during the worst pandemic we have seen in 100 years. So I hope you get kind of a sense of, why am I doing all this stuff? What have I done for my whole career? A sense of duty and service. And now I wish to continue my public service representing you in Congress. People have asked why I'm running. Strong sense of duty and, hope to offer Northern Michigan true, honest, and ethical representation. I'm confident I could be an effective member of Congress in the 1st District and guide us. I've stated earlier with people, I would run, ask me how I would run. I believe in a bedrock of principles, to mention some of them: wisdom, justice, courage, kindness, democratic freedom, and equality under the law. everything that I would probably address under policies or how I would vote would be based on those principles. I also believe, why I'm running, I believe we all deserve a change. We deserve a representative with a moral compass, integrity, someone who speaks the truth and tries to embody all which is best in our first district, not all that is bad in our first district. I think we deserve a congressman with a vision who could recognize problems on the horizon, develop reasonable solutions, and someone who could build a consensus and not division. You deserve, and I deserve. I'm a member of the first district. We deserve a member of Congress that listens to us, that represents us. And I hope to be that person. I do stand on certain principles that will guide my policy decisions. And so I'd like to introduce maybe some of the important policy decisions that differentiates me from the opponent. I do support universal health care, child care, and expansion of Medicaid and Medicare, because I believe no one should suffer the consequences of not being able to afford or access medical care. I've told people my personal stories, and I have, I have resources. I have great medical insurance, but, I had a $200,000 gallbladder bill, from November. $200,000. And, with my resources, I still had to pay nearly $10,000, of that big bill. I think that would be devastating to the majority of Michiganders. As you know, we're still in the middle of a pandemic of COVID, which I spend probably way, way too much time on. But we must move forward together in this pandemic. And yes, I believe vaccination is the best strategy to address COVID at this time. And I would advocate for science and data to inform our responses. Another area, I do support sound environmental policies to protect our future, especially, for us that are guarding the Great Lakes. I support jobs with livable wages. I almost think it's a sin to have teachers in my community that are eligible for food stamps. A full-time teacher eligible for food stamps. There's something wrong with this. I do support critical investments in our infrastructure. The bills are going through Congress at this time. I really do believe that those infrastructure bills would ignite the economy and bring much needed jobs to our district, putting, if I could say, putting money on the workers' families' pockets and food on the table, all without raising taxes on anybody that's making less than what, $450,000. I find that very acceptable. Especially important for the first district, I think broadband expansion. Broadband expansion, a nation without a rural connectivity is completely unacceptable. For us in the first district, it would definitely be an economic boom for our businesses, jobs, and education, not to mention our quality of life and just plain entertainment. I believe that Michigan and, us again in the first district, along with the nation, has an affordable housing crisis. And housing cost, housing mean renting or housing or buying, has risen at rates that outpace our stagnation and salary growth. I'd like to be part of a national solution, joining the state and local issues and addressing that. As you already talked about, yep, I support democracy, elections, and voter rights. Right? Yeah, I believe the democracy is stronger when it's accessible to as many eligible voters as possible, based on inclusion, equal treatment, and participation. Those are just several of the policies or things that I would support. I think these issues and many others separate each of us from, in the first district, from our current representative in Congress. And I think the above issues separates me from my opponent, and the above issues ties me to those in the first district. And I think the above issues could and should reunite America. Again, you don't have to hear it from me, but we all know that the United States is divided economically, politically, and culturally more than ever before. We are even divided on the science of COVID, where I spend the majority of my professional time. But it is time to unite, It is time to come together and push for government solutions that reflect what's best for Northern Michigan values and priorities. And I will strive to be Northern Michigan's vote of reason, in Washington. I'm eager to continue my service. I am seeking to be a true representative of the needs of the First District. Again, I would value your input and ideas and how to bring meaningful change, to the first district. I'm here now. I'm near the whole completion of my little speech. I'm here to listen and share more about, for you to share more with me what's important to you. I have to end up with saying, to have a reason to defeat Jack, I would ask all of us to consider donating to our campaign to advance our cause and bring authentic representation to Northern Michigan and to Congress in 2013. Again, the easy way to do that is go to our website, votedrbob.com, where you'll see a developing website, our policies, procedures, and if I could, an easy way to donate. So I'd be glad to answer any questions or apologize for taking too much of your time already.
That's Dr. Bob. That's a great presentation. Thank you very much. I'll start off the questions by asking you, what kind of reception are you seeing? What are you hearing from your in-person meetings other than people are overjoyed we've got a really good candidate going on?
Yeah, it depends on the crowd, right? If I could say, I was a little, so my first stop on the campaign trail, which is just starting, was in Sheboygan County. And there I got asked very hard questions. You could probably guess what, gun rights and pro-choice, pro-life, abortion issues. Because they were worried. This was all Democrats, mind you, but they were worried, can we compete? Can somebody compete, against a Republican? It's not Jack, any Republican in the Northern First District. I answered those questions, and I saw people kind of, chatting to each other. You're up on the stage chatting to each other, and the end result is, my goodness, we have a shot here. Just the way that I answered those questions. Again, I'd be glad to share that, but I said, yes, I believe in the Second Amendment, but we have a gun violence issue, and I want to address gun violence. I switched the discussion around. And I really do think that's what we need to discuss, gun violence, more than anything else. So most of the Democrats, if I can say, are very supportive. I've had no one say on my personal account that I can't run against him. Most people are saying with my experience, the way I could message, the way I could talk. And as I told the radio host, I wish I could talk as good as you can on radio, but the way I can message what I stand for, we have a shot. We have a shot at this. So we'll sure try.
Great. Who's got a question? Please unmute and ask a question. Steve, go ahead.
Dr. Bob.
Yeah.
Dr. Bob, my name is Reverend Stephen B. Thompson. I am the current director of Benzie County Normal, which is a national organization for reform of marijuana laws. I am also the former executive director of Michigan Normal from May 2008 to retirement of November 11. My question for you is, from the cannabis community, if you are elected, can we count on you to vote the right way to once and for all end this persecution against those of us that choose a God-made herbal medicine over man-made drugs to end cannabis prohibition once and for all here in the United States of America?
Yeah, I suppose it depends on what the vote exactly is. I think there's a lot of personal choice inside of there, and I would be for almost anything that, if it's a personal choice, I guess I don't mind. I don't mind at all. So decriminalization, I started in my professional career, public health, substance abuse. That's where I started. I said social worker, but I was a substance abuse medical director, even in Marquette, for almost 20 years. If it's somebody's personal choice and it does no harm, I have no problem with that.
Thank you.
It is somebody's personal choice, and it should never have been labeled as a drug. It's not a drug. It is a God-made herbal medicine, a plant.
Thanks.
Yeah.
We
Reverend,
could
we
use
So
need
another
you
to
question
don't have
here.
substance.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Who else has a question here? Mark, go ahead. Unmute. Thank you.
I'd like to just repeat a question that Gerard Grabowski had in the chat. He says, Dr. Bob, how do you feel about publicly addressing the January 6th assault on the Capitol and Bergman's association with Proud Boys and other violent extremists? Is this an issue that can gain traction with wavering Republicans and lazy Democrats?
Yeah. Yeah. If I could say that is probably two parts to this. I think he needs to be held publicly accountable what his role is. So the defund, the defund campaign, what is Jack having to hide? I think everybody needs to be responsible for their actions, including myself, their words and actions. So yes, I think he needs to be held accountable for that. If you make an assault, now I'm getting down to campaigning. If you make an assault against Republicans, that's not the way to win the first district. We have to be inclusive and trying to get in the wavering Republicans and the lazy Democrats to vote, for what we believe in. Attacking on certain, how to attack or how to address. I'd rather say, in my words, how do I address this? I think if you attack Republicans, it's going to backfire. If you ask people to be accountable, what role did you end up playing? Then go from there. So it's a very tough one. As running for Congress, you get a lot of opinions from a lot of different folks. And I know congressmen, I know people in Washington, D.C., a lot of them have said, stay away. If you want to try to win, stay away from that, but hold him accountable. And how to do that is going to be, I totally haven't figured that out yet. I think the billboards of, what we, the people, and we have already got social media about voter rights, right? We're talking about that.
Great, thank you. Very thoughtful response there. Who else has a question? Put your hand up and I'll call on you. Okay, Dr. Bob, I'd like to ask you a little bit about potential for union support, particularly vis-a-vis things like Line 5.
Sylvia has her hands up, I see.
I'll ask a question first, then we'll get to that. I would like to ask you about your union support, particularly vis-a-vis things like Line 5 and renewable energy. How are you talking to folks about that?
Yeah, I actually met with the labor AFC ICO, a labor president from the state of Michigan. He was up at our union event on Labor Day in Ishpeming, Ishpeming in the UP. We've also met with almost all of the labor people. I've walked with the what I call Michigan Nurses Association. That's a local event. That's a local event in my own community. Labor support, again, I don't like to endorse a candidate until after the primaries are over. Last week I was told I'm still the only one, but people could enter the race until April. So officially the labor did not want to endorse anybody until after the nominations are done in April. Last week I was notified by the labor people that they would like to vet me and consider me for their support even at this time. That's kind of a new one. They have never done that before, lending their support so early in the campaign. So I've met with the labor directors. It's on the agenda for sometime next week or the following week to meet with all the union presidents, of the plumbers, et cetera, get personally interviewed before they would issue an endorsement. So I think that's pretty impressive.
Thank you.
Line 5 is a totally separate issue. I get address Line 5 separately from labor because I think they are separate issues.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Sam Getziner asks, how can we help you? I'm sure you're going to say donation, and we are urging people to do that. What else can we do?
Yeah, I think, if I could say is, what can I do for you? I mean, we have to, how do you win this election, right? I can win this election just with Democrats. I don't know that. I really don't know if we can do that. Can we win the election if we get all the Democrats to vote? Maybe. Can we win the election to get, as you said, Republicans for Republicans for Dr. Bob? Too early. That's way too early at this point, from my understanding. So we need to get Democrats to vote. We need to be united. We need to talk to our friends that are on the borderline, the independents. I have some very staunch Republicans friends. They're willing to vote for me, right? Because they know who I am. They know how I stand. I also, I don't want to, I mentioned a lot of stuff today that separates me from Jack, but a lot of those things I just said are supported by Republicans too. So I think we need to get the message out that we have a candidate running for Congress that would support all of us much better than the current Republican. Then I think we have a shot. Yes, money. Yes, money. I totally understand the money. And, being a public servant, being a physician, not being a politician, that is my biggest worry is money.
Thank you, Bob. Sylvia McCullough, do you have a question? You need to unmute. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bob, for coming to talk with us today. We really, really appreciate it. My question is pretty simple. What kinds of media are you planning to use to get your message across, not only to Democrats, but to Republicans as well?
Yeah. So right now, that's a matter of, that's two things. It's a matter of funding, how much money you have to do such. And then it depends on when is the appropriate time. If I look at how many people you are, 39, 40 of us on this phone chat, Democratic leaders are paying attention this early. The general public is not. The general public doesn't probably pay attention to really elections almost until October of next year. So what we can afford right now are the easy things, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, emails. That's the stuff that we're reaching out now. We have list of stuff that we're sending out. Currently it's 7,000 people. That list will expand, and we're expanding across the nation now because a lot of people in the nation don't like Jack either. There's a defunded Jack throughout the nation, and I don't, you probably know more about that. So we're trying to reach out in the inexpensive ways right now. Eventually, eventually we'll have to get paid stuff on TV, on radio. I think it's too, my campaign people, my consultants say it's too early.
Yeah.
Too early.
Thank you for that. I don't know if it would be appropriate to ask you this at this time, but how much do you think you need to win money-wise? And how can we help you?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been asked that before. And again, let me just give you some figures from what I understand. We looked at people that ran against Jack, going back to Lon Johnson, Dana Ferguson, Matt Morgan. I think the one that raised the most, up to like $3-4 million, still got, slammed, right? 60-40. The person that raised the least, 500,000, the vote was nearly the same. So if I could say, I don't think, my fundraisers don't want me saying this, 4,500,000 versus 500,000, the last 4 campaigns made no difference in the percentage of the vote. So we got to win. We got to take another area of win. Money is not going to make you win. Just like I tell people, a beautiful hospital doesn't give great medical care. It's the people inside the hospital, and the technology that gives the care. And maybe we have to take the same approach. Or maybe I'm just being, nice to myself, saying money is not important, but money is very important. So the more we could get, the better off we would be. I think a reasonable figure to have a shot would be probably $1.5 to $2 million.
Thank you for that. Bob, we have a question from somebody about, do you support full wolf protection?
Oh.
Yeah, that would be way too hard for me to answer on that one without knowing the details. Remember, I'm originally from Minnesota, so I spent a lot of, even though time Iowa Royal is part of Michigan, they didn't have full wolf protection either. So again, could I say I have to end up trusting some of the experts on this, the Department of Natural Resources, whatever it's called in Michigan, the environment. I'd have to depend on some of the national experts on this. But full wolf protection without more details and understanding, I couldn't just render you a yes or no on that. I would have to study that more.
Thank you for that careful answer. Somebody wants to know, how can we donate to you without and eliminate the middleman?
Yeah. There's always seems to be middleman, but the easiest way is by check, because there's no middleman on the check. On votedrbob.com, that's our website. We go for the easiest way is Act Blue, the Democratic area that winds up the fundraising. I believe they take about 3% of everything that we raise for the Act Blue. But that 3%, Jim, if it's 3 or 4%, I think that 3% stays in the Democratic Party, doesn't it? It doesn't go through for-profit enterprise or Republicans. So we feel pretty comfortable with Act Blue. If you want to do a direct check, then go to our website and our address, and it's address the checks to Friends of Dr. Bob. And I think it has a P.O. Box 936 Marquette, Michigan 49855. But that is on our website, and there is no middleman on checks.
That's great. And to answer your question, Act Blue is a nonprofit. I don't know how far within the folds of the Democratic Party it is, but it's very much Democrat associated. And so they use the money to expand the power of their site, I'm sure. I don't think anybody's getting rich off it. Hope not, anyway. Who has a question now? If somebody would like to raise their hand and make say they have a question. Kay Boyne has a question. Go ahead and unmute, Kay.
I did. Thank you. This really isn't a question. I have always been concerned by politicians who mention their opponents' names over and over again, which I think is a huge mistake. And Dr. Bob is doing that minimally. And I think that's very important, to not keep putting forth your opponent's names, because that's what people remember. And I think the way he phrases his issues, he's very wise. He doesn't label other people's, assault them. He switches things to support the issues. And I think his message will convince more people than money. He wants to support all of us, which is my message too. Thank you.
I agree with you.
Good job.
I probably use Jack's name more with you folks, but you see a lot of the stuff I write where we send out, my opponent or the other candidate.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, that's great. Who else has a question for Dr. Bob? Mary Wobling.
This is kind of a question and a statement. It occurred to me in listening to you, Dr. Bob, that when Bergman started to run, he came across as sort of a moderate, benign old guy from New Orleans. And, and everybody felt comfortable voting for that man. Over the years, even people here who have known him since college no longer speak to him. And who initially supported his candidacy, or at least weren't adverse to him taking the job. So it seems like your approach in being, for all of us, as Kay said, is the right way to go, because there have to be numbers of people who initially thought he was benign, who now are beginning to be somewhat horrified, because he's gone so far into the right-wing trenches with the Proud Boys and all these other people. So I think you're strong in taking the middle path, and whatever we can do to help you do that, we certainly will help.
Well, thank you. I've said this before too. If you know who the current, principles, what predict which they will go.
Bob,
beforehand. Yeah.
Bob, you're starting to break up a bit. You might try turning off your video if you can do that. Is there a way to turn off your video?
Yep. Does this my
We-
video's off?
There we go. Great. Now go ahead.
Yeah. You know, what I was saying is you have to know the person. That's why I think it's important for you to know me as a person, because down in the future, you'll have an idea of where I will stand on something, right? Like I got asked the wolf question. I deferred that one. I don't know enough information about it. But if you know my principles, you'll see, you know, do I care for the environment? Do I care for wild? Yes, yes, yes. I think a lot of people didn't know what Jack really cared for, what he stood for.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Tom Reichard, you've got a question. I see it in the chat, but why don't you ask it verbally? Go ahead. Unmute.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Jim. I really appreciate you coming here and talking to us today, Dr. Bob. And you've presented us with your awesome background in public health and public service. But I just wondered if you have something you could share with us about any of your experiences with government or with the Democratic Party.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to give you a two-parter. You know, I spent 10 years in the federal government as one of the leaders and the team. If you talk about state and local politics, you know, federal politics, oh my goodness. So yeah, I spent 10 years there. And over the last, 10 months, nearly a year as a public health medical director for a county, my goodness. That's my experience, 10 years in federal, 1 year in county positions. With that being said, somebody asked me on the radio yesterday, you'd be a rookie coming into Congress, right? How is that going to work? And I said, wait a second, a 65-year-old rookie with my experience, my education, my background is not a rookie at all. You know, and maybe we need more rookies into politics. I'm not a professional politician, not at all. I had no intentions of doing this until I was asked. And then I deferred that for 3 or 4 months. So maybe I think that's running in our favor. We need people in government that have expertise, knowledge, and common sense to represent them. Now, with that being said, I think there's great people in government, right, that came from the private sector. I worked for multiple ambassadors that had nothing to do with government. And some of them were the best ambassadors and public servants I have ever worked for. And some of them were disasters. It depends on the person. It really depends on the person. And I think I could do it.
What a great answer. That's fabulous. Who else has a question for Dr. Bob here?
Well, I might.
Susan Koenig, go ahead. Yes, Susan, go ahead.
Dr. Bob, I'll repeat what everybody else has said. We're really appreciative of your being here. And I can see that everybody's getting kind of a little bit excited about your candidacy. And I'm not a pessimist by nature, but Dana Ferguson and Matt Morgan were pretty good candidates, and we all got really excited and we tried very hard, and they still had these appalling results. I don't know the answer to getting this guy, this worst person, Jack Bergman, out of our lives, unless you're just going to have to be on the road like a maniac, presenting yourself to everyone. Maybe it was that. Nobody knows the answer about, what was it that we kept failing over, and how can we make it work for you? I don't know.
Yeah. Nice commentary. And if anybody has the answer, please, you'll be my chief of staff for the campaign. But with that being said, I'm not sure if it's all traveling either. Because even I think not Matt Morgan, somebody even bought an RV and lived in the RV and traveled everywhere, and it made no difference. The vote was basically almost 60 to 40 across the board. Like I said, no matter how much money you raise, how much you end up traveling. So, and then depending how of a person you are, we have to look at you and others in the first district. who do you want to represent you? And if you're going after, if you look at ours, we're going, I don't know if you want to call it middle road. We're talking policies and we're talking the person. And I think a third one that was brought up by some Democratic leaders in your counties around mid-northern Michigan is what will I bring in to you, right? To you. How does it make a tangible difference? Now, I think we've already introduced this. What has Jack brought into you? I don't think anything. I don't think he has brought anything into the first district. And he votes against, universal health care. He votes against the infrastructure. Those are jobs. He votes, not favorable for the broadband, which is on the infrastructure. Jack is voting away from stuff that could come into the first district. And I think that we need to highlight that. But we'll try, right? We'll try. If somebody doesn't try, then you lost. I have a lot to gain. I have a lot to gain on this because it's a continuation of public service and the incredible opportunity to help the first district. But, the first district also has to understand we have a lot to lose. If Jack continues, if the opponent continues in that spot, we won't get the jobs from infrastructure. We won't develop the broadband in our rural areas where people could telework. We have a lot to lose.
Yes, we
including
do.
our environment, people, line 5, we have a lot to lose on this sort of stuff. So that's what I think we have to take approach, and I'll continue to try.
Good.
I have a
Thank you.
question.
Yeah.
Does it make sense, and maybe you've done this already, but does it make sense to go focus some of your in-person visits or Zoom visits towards the local Republican parties? As you have mentioned, the key is getting them to know you personally. And I don't know how much other candidates have focused on that. You have to assume that all Democratic parties in Michigan would be or in your district would be in support of you. And maybe an idea would be to try to focus some time speaking to Republican Party groups.
I would agree. Now it depends on the timing of such. I started like in Sheboygan, I started off my talk and it's like, I'd like to introduce myself, Dr. Bob. I'd like to represent, and I said, the young and the old, those who agree with me and those who disagree with me, people of all genders. I'd like to represent the conservatives, the liberals, the progressives, the moderates, Democrats, independent, and the Republicans. Yes, I believe that. Just like the president, I believe I need to represent everybody in the first district. When do you do such? Like, I think it's timing right now. With that being said, I have probably upcoming fundraisers, and I asked some of my fundraisers, will you please bring in your Republican friends, right? Republican friends, for them the chance to hear, what I believe in. It has to be kind of, whatever you call it, it has to be done carefully, if I could say diplomatically, how to do that. The Republicans for Dr. Bob might be a good one in October of next year. And we'll see what the opponent does. We'll see what the defund Jack Bergman does. We'll see what we, the people, end up doing. So I agree with you, Mike. It all depends on how and when. And that's a campaign strategy.
Another great answer, Bob. Nancy Vanderlinde, did you have a question? Go ahead and unmute, okay? Nancy, would you unmute, please? Nancy, you have to unmute. No luck with Nancy unmuting. While we wait for her to straighten that out, does anybody else have a question for Dr. Bob?
Oh, Nancy's unmuted.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have a question. I just hit something wrong and lost you completely for a minute.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I want to say a large thank you to Dr. Bob. You are my candidate right now as of this day.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. And if, like people said, what can you do? Go for lunch with your independent Republican friends and spread the word. if all of us on this one, right, if there's 40 of us, if all of us get, we all have Republican and independent friends saying, hey, here's a guy. And if we could sway, do that pyramid program, the good pyramid program, not the financially, illegal one, there's where we have a shot, right? And I can't do that. I can't do that for each county. The Democratic leaders, you folks would have to do that for us.
Great
I'll
answer.
try. I do have several wonderful Republican friends.
Take them
And
to lunch.
I will present your name to them. Thank you.
Great. Okay, more questions for Dr. Bob? Put your hand up. I don't see anybody. Going once.
There's Barb there.
Oh, Barb, go ahead. Sorry.
You're muted.
I must have hit it twice. I've already gone online with my phone and I've joined, Facebook and Twitter for Dr. Bob and the defund Twitter, just so we can stay involved. And that's one quick thing
Thank
we can
you.
all do.
Thank you very much.
Great, Barb. Thank you. I'm just going to remind people before you leave, please save the chat. It's got all this contact information on about all the stuff you've heard today. If you go to the chat in the right-hand corner where it says that there's far right-hand corner, you'll see 3 dots. Press on the 3 dots, and up at the top of the drop up menu, it says Save Chat. Click that, and it'll show up in your download folder, and you can refer to it. Okay, so please do that. Now, Dr. Bob, thank you very, very, very much for being with us today. Let's give him a hand, big warm hand.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. If you don't mind, I probably have to leave. I have to continue onward.
Please.
Onward,
please.
nothing.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for all the work. Thanks for the invite, and thanks for the support. Appreciate it.
Okay.
We'll see you again.
We hope to have you back many times, and safe
Bye.
travels and Godspeed to you.
Thank
Okay?
you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Does anybody else have some real pertinent stuff that we might have missed that you would like to tell the group while we're all gathered at the moment?
I do.
Yes, go ahead.
Bruce Ogilvie is in the house, and Bruce is going to be our honoree this year. We at the Three Witches fundraiser. So we're mixing it up. We're doing it different, but we wanted to make sure that we honor Bruce. He saved our hide and kept us from going to San Quentin more times than I can tell you. And this is a little known fact, because if you worked with him like I did, we kept our mouths shut every time we thought we were going in the tank. So I know what he did, and we would like a big round of applause and thank Bruce, and then we'll be thanking him on the 29th of October.
Thank you.
Thanks for keeping us out of the clink, Bruce.
Yeah, we did not go to San Quentin. Close, but we did not go.
Wait, is Bruce being honored on the 29th or on the thing on Thursday?
No, October 29th at the fundraiser for the Three Witches.
The Three Witches Halloween
He is
fundraiser.
the Charlotte Bowling honoree this year.
That's a Friday.
Yes.
That's okay.
It's a Friday night. Yep. Barb, you got something?
I'm just going to put a quick word out. Thanks to all of you who read my little updates from the Benzie County Commissioners. And just given the fact that they are all Republicans, while they say they're nonpartisan, they can't help but be swayed certain ways. And you read I don't cover the whole meeting, just certain key points. But I think it really helps if once in a blue moon you can just show up to one of those meetings. That's all Zoom. I mean, you can be in person, but show up, because I just think it really helps to have us watching.
Mm-hmm.
Great point, Barb. Anybody else have something they want to say before we adjourn? Bruce?
Yes, I want to bring up something.
I want to thank you for honoring me in this way. It's sort of a negative honor in some ways to keep us from being sent, to debtor's prison or tax prison. But the bottom line here is that without Mary's help and her contacts with the Democratic Party, I don't think we would have ever gotten ourselves untangled from what the IRS was going to do to us. It was really quite the experience. And
Well,
I think it's appropriate that we're having the three witches, because as a Scotsman who is somehow related to whom Shakespeare called Macbeth, whose actual name was Florfin, I'm very happy to be honored during the Three Witches Conference.
Bruce.
Love you, Bruce.
Hey, Bruce, do you have a warlock hat?
Yes, I do.
All right. Amy Ferris, you got something to say?
I was just going to say how impressed I am with all the levels, and we're at the grassroots level. And then to have somebody like Dr. Bob step forward is just wonderful. I just like to put a kudos out for let's see, who would she be? She's married to my nephew. She's the prosecutor in the January 6th prosecutions right now.
Wow.
Ooh. So we've got, if some of you know my sister Suzanne Glenn, it's her daughter-in-law. And what incredible pressure and politics, and even within a Democratic Justice Department at this point, how much stress this is. So just thought I'd mention that we've got people with roots here and everywhere. Just like I think, doesn't Dana Nessel's parents live here in Frankfurt?
Her wife lives here. Her wife is from here. Yes.
That's it. Well, anyway, I'm just wanting to say how wonderful all of you are, and thank you for all coming. And it's so nice to see all these faces.
Well, thank you, Amy. It's great to have you in service as the township supervisor over in Crystal Lake Township.
That is.
We're really glad to have you. Anybody else want to make a quick comment before we go? Greta, go ahead.
I would, yes. This is a little bit of a pitch, but it is related to our values regarding affordable housing in Benzie County and in our area. I'm on a committee to raise money for Habitat, and we're going to have a live auction of upcycled goods on October 9th. All the items will be on display at Grow Benzie from 10 to 4, and the auction itself will take place online. So I would encourage you to find some really cool upcycled art and craft items for your home, or wearables, or jewelry, or whatever it happens to be, and participate in that event, either by stopping by Grow Benzie or checking out the auction online. All the items will be photographed and described. And it's one of those online auctions where you can bid, and then if somebody outbids you, your phone will ping, and you can go back in and say whether you want to bid again. So just an FYI, it's an important cause, and obviously in line with our values.
What's the date again, Greta?
October 9th.
Okay, great.
Great.
And, as a little side note, if anybody is an art or crafter or upcycler, you still have time to make something for that auction. I've made 7 things, and if you're interested in that at all, you can go to the Benzie Habitat website or send me an email.
Great. Steve Thompson, did you have a question or a comment?
I had a comment. I wanted to bring up something that happened this past week here in the state of Michigan for any of you that would be or care or would be interested. 3 very bad House bills were introduced on the 14th at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. 5300, 5301, and 5302. These bills they're still trying to, our struggle continues. They're still trying to undo our 2008 medical marijuana law. These bills that were introduced, what would be most detrimental is right now we currently have around 10,000 licensed caregivers in the state of Michigan taking care of patients, and these bills, if they were passed, would take away the right to take care of 5 patients from a caregiver and take it down to only 1. Caregiver could only take care of 1 patient. Other bad things is that caregivers' information would be released to local law enforcement. they would be put under unnecessary due burdens of expenses and rules that just should not be. The good news is that these bills have not been put up to a committee hearing yet. They are trying to fast track them, but they've not been put up to a committee hearing. If they were brought before a vote, they would have to have 75% support of the state representatives, 75% support of the Senate, and then Governor Whitmer, if it made it to her desk, would have to sign these into law, which we hope and pray to God that she wouldn't even think about doing. We will be watching them very closely throughout the rest of this year, especially during lame duck season. But I would if anybody cares or is interested, I would encourage you to check in this and let them know down there and stay in Lansing that we want absolutely no changes to our medical marijuana law. If they want to do any kind of change, they can expand it, not take us backwards.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much. Okay, I think we're going to call it there.
I have one comment, Jim.
Mike, yes?
Our last highway cleanup for this year is coming up starting, we have about a little over a week window, but I would like to ask the people that helped last time. We had 8 volunteers. We would like to do the M115 section down by Crystal Mountain, which is a little more challenging than the other section we have. I would like to propose that we could meet at the gas station, Pompano's out by Crystal Mountain at 9 o'clock next Saturday. And if there's anybody else interested, I could put my, I'm a text guy, but my phone number, if you want to take it down, if you're interested, we had a nice size.
Mike, put your phone number in the chat. Okay. Type it into the chat. That's
so I would like to ask the people that were there last time, which was in July, if they would like to volunteer again for this one next Saturday, which is the what?
25th.
25th.
25th. Okay. To do the M115, and then we'll worry about the other one after that. Okay, I'll put that in there.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks everybody. Okay, our next meeting like this will be 1 month from today. It'll be the 3rd Saturday of October. It'll be our last meeting before our big Three Witches Halloween fundraiser. We'll have more information for you by email, by snail mail, by Facebook, by website between now and then. We'll have a great guest for you for our October meeting. If you got a suggestion of somebody you'd like to see, it's open at the moment. We'd love to hear from you on that. And one more time, please save the chat so that you have all the contact information for all of the great stuff that has happened here today that we're talking about. We need you. We need you. We need you. Please get involved. It's all hands on deck. It's not individual one we're campaigning against. We're now campaigning against an entire national party and state party that has gone off the edge in a very, very, very dangerous way. We cannot sit this one out. Okay? Thank you. And with that, we will declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you all very much for being here.
Good job.
Thanks.
Stay well, everybody.
Take care, you guys.
All right.
Be safe out there.
Great meeting.
Thanks, Jim. Great meeting.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks all.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Thank you all. It's great to have you here.